Good evening, afternoon, or morning, whatever time it is for all of you. For me, it is morning and unfortunately the last day of beta, but I wanted to walk through the character creation for all of you so you can get a glance at how you can make your own toon once the game launches in about a month. So when we go to the create the character screen, if you're familiar with any of the Elder Scrolls games, you know that there are typically a lot of options allotted to you when it comes to creating a character. Now, although I play in first-person mode, so I don't get to see my character very often, it's nice to know that I can customize my character to look even a lot like me, or somebody completely different, but I can be very different than all the other players out there. So, when you start, you'll start on the race screen, which allows you to pick your alliance and your race, which is kind of like a faction, but ultimately, one of the cool things that they've implemented is novice versus veteran gear, so you can kind of see what am I going to look like at the beginning and what can I hope to look like near the end. As you're going through and picking your races, the difference between races and what their ending armor is very different. So I actually recommend that you start on the class page. This will allow you to pick the class you're trying to play and then figure out what race kind of vibes best with you, whether it's appearance or with racial traits. So in the class section, right now Elder Scrolls has 4. You have the Dragon Knight, which is more or less your typical fighter class. You have the Sorcerer, which is your typical mage class. The Nightblade, which is the rogue / archer class, more stealthy. And then lastly you have the Templar, where they're the support class, the healing class, if you will. So once you've decided, you know what, hey, which class do I want to play? I'm going to go with the Templar because I think that their armor is pretty cool. Then I would go back to race to really figure out who I want to play my Templar as. So first your gender options, let's make a lady friend. And then you get to pick your alliance. Now, unless you buy the expansion, or not the expansion, but I guess the gold version of the game, you are limited to what race you can play by alliance, or at least the link between them. So the Daggerfall Covenant can only be these 3 races, the Aldemary Dominion can only be these 3, and so on. Unless you are being able to play the Imperial, who can choose any race and alliance that they want. And I believe that with the purchase of the Gold Edition, you can actually choose any race under any faction. So this link is no longer forced. You can choose whatever race you want and whatever alliance you want. Maybe a nice perk if you want to play with your friends, but they all want to play maybe the Daggerfall Covenant, but you really want to be a Khajiit, well, you'll be able to. So within each of the races, I'll let you at least see the armor set with them, and then also talk about kind of what class would be best for each one. Now, of course, with Elder Scrolls Online and with any real Elder Scrolls game, the race perks are nice, but it doesn't mean that, oh, if I want to be like a warrior, I have to be a Breton. No, that's not true. Although they do have some good passives and maybe will have some good benefits for whatever class you're trying to play. In Elder Scrolls Online, you can be a mage who wields daggers or a mace, or you can be a warrior who works with a restoration staff. It doesn't really matter what race you are as far as the perks go, but it is a nice little bonus if you're on the fence between 2. So the Breton, because of their passives, they would be best with more or less the Nightblade or the Sorcerer class. Orc, which is pretty stereotypical, will be best at your Dragon Knight, or maybe even Templar, but definitely the Dragon Knight area. And then Redguard is the same thing, either Dragon Knight or the Templar, just because of their stamina and shield power. So then we get into the Aldemary Dominion with the High Elf. High Elf is your typical Sorcerer class, mostly Destruction, but you could also be, I guess, Restoration here. Wood Elf is your shorter class, and they're going to be good with the Nightblade, more stealthy type of missions. And then we have our lovely Khajiit. Khajiit are going to be more or less best with either the Nightblade or the Dragon Knight, just because of their bonuses to melee combat and stealth. And then we get over into the Argonian. So the Argonian is one of the few that are spec'd more for the Templar for a support class. which I find very fun and interesting since I play healers typically. I'll probably be making an Argonian as one of my mains. The Dark Elf is going to be, well, I'm on the fence with this one, either Sorcerer or the Nightblade. So with dual wielding, that's typically going to be more in the Nightblade area with the dagger specialties, but they have fire magic additions as well. And that's what I really like with Elder Scrolls Online, is that you could be, for instance, a sorcerer using fiery magic, but then wielding like 2 daggers, and you could be like an up-close range mage. Or you could be a rogue, a Nightblade, but then using fire-type spells. So you can really customize how your character plays. So that's why Dark Elf could really be either or. And then lastly, we have the Nord. These are going to be more or less your fighters, also your Dragon Knights. We will have Imperial once the game is released, but right now we do not. I have bought my gold edition, so I will probably be playing an Imperial, just because you get a lot of cool bonuses with them. But they'll be able to be any alliance, and I don't know their bonuses yet. I would guess the Imperial is going to be best equipped to be a Dragon Knight, but we shall see once the game is released. Now, before you move on to the more custom settings, I actually recommend either going back to your novice gear so you can see your character's face, and honestly, don't get too shocked going with the no gear option. Specifically because you're going to be doing a lot of body changes and a lot of markings and stuff, so you want to be able to see your character in full and what you're dealing with. Now, the Randomized Appearance option is pretty good, and it'll give you at least a first glance at what types of changes you can make to your character. I will give you that the options you have on body and face are extensive, so if you can find something on the randomized option that gets you close to a character you'd like to create, it's best to start there. So let's see. A lot of people with markings. That's an old lady. Another old lady. Oh, I don't know. Sure, let's go with her. So then we can skip class because we've already decided what class we're going to be and move on to body. So with body and face, both of them have these triangles that you can adjust your body or face type. And basically you can just scale things around to make your character a little bit more large, more muscular and toned, or thin. And then you can kind of customize the areas in between here. So we'll just make her really muscular. What is she? Is she a warrior? Templar. Yeah, she's gonna carry around a hammer, so she's gonna be pretty muscular. And apparently she has some scars on her. Height is pretty obvious, up and down, makes her tall and short. We'll make her super tall. And then skin color, not too many options here at the Nord, but it's pretty obvious change. And when you're going through, you can always lock certain features that you like, and then click randomize, and it'll randomize the rest of the options with leaving what you decided you don't want to change alone. Body marking is your tattoos and your scars for your body. Now, these don't change too much depending on your race, except for the Khajiit. The Khajiit will have, and the Argonian both will have changes to their scales and fur with different patterns, not necessarily tattoos and scars. So well, that's going to get busy on the screen. Sure, we'll go with that. Torso size is really your upper body with your shoulders. How wide is that? Chest size is the boobs, and the pecs for men, it is the size of the boobs. So I'm assuming there will be a lot of large chest sizes, but you know, we're gonna be conservative. We're gonna go a little lower there. Gut size, I actually want to look at profile, is the, again, size of their gut. Now for women, even at maximum gut size, you are pretty toned, and then you can be really concave if you wish. Waist size is going to be this little midriff area here. I guess how hourglass curvy are you? Arm size is the width of your arm, so again, how muscular or not you are. And then hand size isn't like the size of your hands, it's actually the fatness of them. So you'll notice the hands don't actually change size, it's just they get filled more with stuff. So if you want really fat, pudgy hands, you have the option to. Hip size is again just the hips, wide or narrow. Posterior dimensions. I love how they worded that. That is how big your booty is. So you can make your booty pretty big or pretty small. If I can actually move it here. There we go. Small, big. Small, big. Again, one of those things, I feel like we're going to have a lot of large posteriors, but you have the option to make it smaller if you wish. Leg size is again width and like kind of muscle on there, so make them thin or thick. And then foot size, same with hand, is going to be the fatness of your feet, not necessarily the size. So are you a 9 wide or a 9 narrow? Alright, so with body out of the way, then we get into face. And again, I want to call out that there are so many options here that as you keep going through these selectors, your character may start to look very alien to you because you're adjusting little things here and there. And that's why, again, randomized appearance is a great way to get started and then only make tiny tweaks. Just playing around with things will make them look so weird that by the end of it, you'll be like, I made some sort of weird elephant man monster. Alright, so in the face type, you have the same triangular option. Basically, angular is more of a triangle face, soft is more of a circular face, and then heroic is more of a square face. And then you can find areas in between. Since you made her body so heroic or square, we'll make her face a little softer. Give her some femininity there. Voice type, you can choose the sound actor for your falls and your grunts and things like that. You can choose any, and then you have a couple of options to sort through this clicking bar. So you can find a voice that best resonates with you and your character. Hairstyle, there are a decent amount of options, and these will change depending on different playable races and obviously gender. So there's a decent amount there. We're gonna give her, you know what, that reminds me of House of Cards. We'll go with that. Cool. And then hair color, pretty obvious option is your hair color. Okay, so then when we get into the features, so age will age your character, lines on their nose, eyes, things like that as they go on, and then eventually neck to the point it's like, ooh. So I'm going to go a little bit older, but not 12. Adornment will be different for the gender that you're playing. So adornment for females is typically jewelry, piercings, different features there. But then for men will be facial hair, primarily. There are little features you can get, like the eye patch and whatnot, but it's going to be all about your beard. And then head marking is going to be, again, scars and tattoos with your face. And these won't change depending on your gender. Race will change them. Again, Argonians and Khajiit have some specialties there, but tattoos. Let's go with something a little less obtrusive. Actually, you know what? Let's just get rid of them. This will help when showing the different features. Alright, so with face. Forehead slope is really where your forehead starts. Does it kind of go back or is it straight up and down? So you can just see the different options here. Back sloped or straight up and down. Cheekbone size is the size of your cheekbones, big or small. And I'll make them big so you can see them when I go with the height up or down. And so you can change that just a little bit. Jaw size, the width of your jaw. Chin, the size of your chin up and down. It doesn't really make a big difference profile or looking right on, but it's there. Again, all these features are relatively subtle, and that's why when you're making all these changes, you might end up with something, when you all add them all together, someone you weren't expecting. Chin height up or down, how big is it? And then neck size, are you swell, do you work out, or do you play video games? This guy, he works out, obviously. Look at that, he has tattoos on his chest, he works out. Okay, eye color, same thing, pretty obvious. Your options will change with race. Eye size, are they big or are they small? Eye angle, are they up and down or kind of tilted? And then eye separation, close or far together. Eye height, up or down, you can change that a little bit. And then squint, are you always really kind of angry and curious about the world, or you're always really excited. My guy's gonna be, he's curious. He's always, he's thinking there's a scheme going on. Eyebrows is your different options of eyebrows. So you can flip through here. Most of them are pretty standard, but every once in a while I'll come across one that's like, whoa, that's not an eyebrow. Those look so comical. Okay, we'll go with that. Eyebrow height, is it up or down, closer to the eye, farther away from the eye? Eyebrow skew is the kind of ratio of the tilt. So is one eye more prevalent than the other? Like, are you always kind of raising one brow? You can do a little eyebrow dance like this. Fun stuff. And then depth is really a profile thing of are your eyebrows kind of set back, or are they set forward and have a big brow? Alright, home stretch. Nose. So nose shape is the tilt of your like nostril, or like the tip of your nose, or is it really pointy and upwards, or is it tilt downwards? We'll give them kind of in the middle area. Nose height is then like take that tip of your nose, but then move it up and down with your face. So is it closer to your lips or farther away from your lips? Nose width, is it narrow, is it wide? And then length is again profile, is it closer to your face or further from your face? So you can do some options there. Mouth, we have the height, so close to your chin, away from your chin. The curve, are you kind of just like, I'm a little bit happy right now, or are you always just, my life sucks? You don't have a huge smile option, but you can be just pretty angry at the world constantly if you want, and he's going to be. And then your lips fullness, are they kind of narrow, or are they just super plump and kissable, just constantly being this manly warrior? We're going to make them a little narrow. I don't want the temptation. And then we have ear size, lastly. So this isn't going to work very well with the hair choice that I chose. Let's put something, there we go. Okay. So ear size is just, obviously size, small or big. Rotation is the, are they close to your face, like against your head, or are they flared outward? And then height, up and down, where kind of are they? Now, ear tip flare is something you won't notice a lot of change with the I guess more human races. You can see a little bit of a flare there, but this really comes out with things like the high elf, or even the Khajiit, who have pretty different ears. I'm going to go with high elf because they have a lot more of a tip there. So with the ear tip flare, what you'll notice is they bend up, or are they kind of upright, or do they arch over? So you can change them here, which is again a lot more obvious with the elf and Khajiit characters. So with that, you have your character pretty much done. So as you can see, you have a lot of different options. My recommendations are, again, start with Randomize to find somebody who looks kind of what you're going for, and then make some minor tweaks from there. If you start from someone that you don't want at all and then make all the changes, your character may start to look pretty alien to you. With that, hope you're all excited about the game release in just a month, and that's all I have for you. Have a great day.